In the heart of a dense and enchanting forest nestled between towering trees and whispering leaves, there existed an old abandoned treehouse. It had seen better days, its wooden walls covered in moss and its roof sagging under the weight of countless fallen leaves. But one blustery autumn afternoon, it became the unlikely stage for an extraordinary adventure. For it was on that very day that a curious young boy named Finian stumbled upon this hidden retreat. With a heart full of wonder and a thirst for exploration, Finian had ventured into the woods in search of adventure. Little did he know that fate had something truly special in store for him. As he wandered deeper into the forest's embrace, the wind suddenly picked up, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. The sky, once a clear canvas of blue, now wore a cloak of dark gray clouds, and raindrops began to fall, drumming a quickening pace on the forest floor. Seeking shelter from the sudden downpour, Finian's gaze fell upon the old treehouse. With a mix of excitement and trepidation, he made his way to the moss-covered steps leading up to the entrance. As he pushed open the creaky door, a musty smell of aged wood and forgotten dreams greeted him. Inside, the room was dimly lit, the only source of light filtering in through gaps in the boarded-up windows. But as Finian's eyes adjusted to the gloom, he noticed something that made his heart skip a beat. In the corner, beneath a tattered blanket, lay a basket, and as he cautiously approached it, he heard the faintest of sounds, a tiny tapping that seemed to beckon him closer. With bated breath, Finian lifted the blanket, and what he saw left him in awe. Inside the basket were 3 small, fluffy balls, each no bigger than his thumb. At first, he thought they might be some sort of rare forest berries, but their soft, downy texture and gentle movements quickly revealed the truth. They were baby owls, their eyes still sealed shut, their tiny bodies trembling slightly as if in need of warmth and comfort. But where was their mother? Had she been frightened away by the storm? Or perhaps had she been injured and unable to return, fearful that the poor chicks might not survive the night alone? Finian knew he had to act fast. Without hesitation, he reached out, his touch feather light as he cradled them in his palms. Their softness was like nothing he'd ever experienced, and their gentle chirps, though faint, resonated with a desperate plea that tugged at his heartstrings. In that moment, Finian made a promise to himself. He would keep them safe, warm and fed until their mother came back. And so he carefully placed them inside his jacket, their tiny bodies fitting perfectly against his skin, their soft feathers brushing against his arms like the gentlest of caresses. He then hurried to gather dry leaves and moss, fashioning a makeshift bed that would shield them from the cold, hard floor. As the rain continued to drum its relentless rhythm against the treehouse roof, Finian sat beside the basket, keeping a close watch over the chicks. Each chirp, each rustle, each sigh sent a jolt of anxiety through him. But as the hours passed and the storm outside began to subside, he felt a sense of calm wash over him. The chicks, nestled in their leafy haven, seemed to be doing well. Their breathing was steady, their chirps less frantic. But as the first rays of sunlight peeked through the cracks in the boarded-up windows, painting the room in hues of gold and amber, Finian's resolve began to waver. The realization that their mother hadn't returned dawned on him with the starkness of the rising sun. Panic surged through him, threatening to engulf him. What if she wasn't coming back? What would he do with these helpless creatures? His heart pounded against his ribs, mirroring the frantic beating of their tiny wings inside their feathered bodies. But then, drawing upon a strength he didn't know he possessed, he pushed the fear down, refusing to let it cripple him. He was their only hope now, and he wouldn't let them down. The question was, how could he possibly care for these owls? He had no experience, no guidance, and the vast, uncharted wilderness of the forest offered little in the way of answers. Yet somehow, driven by an instinct as old as the hills themselves, Finian pressed on. He remembered his grandmother's tales of forest folk, of wise old trees and helpful animals, and he clung to those stories as life rafts in the sea of his uncertainty. He would find a way, he vowed, even if it meant venturing into the unknown. Thus began Finian's extraordinary journey. Guided by the whispers of the wind through the trees, he set out to learn the ways of the forest, to understand the needs of these fledgling creatures that had somehow become his responsibility. He learned to identify edible plants, to track the paths of small woodland creatures, and to read the language of birds. And as he delved deeper into the mysteries of the forest, he began to understand that he wasn't alone. The animals, sensing his pure intentions and unwavering dedication, seemed to rally around him. Squirrels chattered directions to him, rabbits hopped alongside him, and even shy deer approached him without a hint of fear. And then there were the birds, their songs now carrying a different melody, one that seemed to resonate with Finian's own determination. And from the birds, he learned more about the owls, their habits, their diet, and most importantly, how to care for owlets until their mother returned. Armed with this newfound knowledge, Finian faced each day with renewed vigor. He foraged for small mice and voles, which the birds helped him locate, and brought them back to the treehouse to feed the growing chicks. Day after day, he watched them develop, their eyes opening to reveal pools of boundless curiosity, their feathers sprouting, transforming them into miniature replicas of their parents. Each chirp, each turn, each attempt at flight filled Finian with a sense of pride and accomplishment. He had not only kept them alive, he had nurtured them, loved them, and in doing so, had become part of their lives, part of their story. And then one morning, just as the sun was beginning its ascent, a sound, a familiar sound that had been absent for so long, echoed through the silent woods, the distinctive call of an owl. Finian's heart skipped a beat. Could it be? Had their mother come back? With a mixture of hope and apprehension, he rushed to the window and looked out, and there she was, perched on the edge of the treehouse roof, her amber eyes gazing intently into the room. The sight of her, strong and proud, brought tears to Finian's eyes. He had done it. He had cared for these chicks, for this family, and now they would be whole again. As the mother owl hooted softly, a deep emotional chord resonated within Finian. It was a sound of recognition, of gratitude, of love. In that moment, he felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment, knowing that he had played a part, however small, in preserving the circle of life in the heart of the ancient forest. The reunion was not without its challenges. The mother owl, though initially wary, soon realized the depth of Finian's devotion and the care he had lavished upon her chicks. With a series of soft hoots and gentle nuzzles, she expressed her gratitude, acknowledging the debt she owed him. And as the days turned into weeks, an unusual bond formed between the young boy and the wise forest creature. She would often sit with Finian in the treehouse, sharing stories of the forest through her keen eyes. He learned about the interconnectedness of all living things, the delicate balance that held the woods together. It was a knowledge that deepened his respect for nature and instilled in him a sense of responsibility for its preservation. When the time finally came for the owlets to leave the treehouse and venture into the wider world, Finian's heart was filled with a mix of emotions: pride, joy, sadness, and a tinge of fear for their safety. Yet he knew it was the right thing to do. They were strong, they were healthy, and they were ready to soar. As they took flight, their wings catching the wind, their silhouettes outlined against the setting sun, Finian felt a profound sense of satisfaction. He had not only cared for these owls, he had ensured the continuation of their species, and in doing so, he had become part of the very fabric of the ancient forest, a protector of its creatures and a steward of its wild, untamed spirit. From that day forward, Finian's life was forever changed. The lessons he had learned, the friendships he had forged, and the love he had shared with the owls became guiding stars in his journey through life. He carried with him the wisdom of the ancient trees, the camaraderie of the forest folk, and the unconditional love of the owls, a reminder that even in the darkest of storms, hope can guide us home.